What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV here, man, and I'm here to talk about a very interesting topic today. It's making headlines all over Twitter, all over Instagram, all over the NBA world. They even talked about it on FS1 Undisputed this morning, right? So Mr. Kwame Brown has been going off, firing shots at Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson, Gilbert Arenas, so on and so forth, right? And people looking like, damn, this is the most we ever heard Kwame talk. He's never been this vocal even throughout his career. He going in, he's snapping, right? Even getting very personal with people like Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes. Gilbert Arenas too, right? And let me just say this. Let me give a backstory too. For those of you who don't watch NBA basketball and aren't familiar with who Kwame Brown is, Kwame Brown was the first number one overall pick to ever come out of high school, right? The first high school guy that went number one. When Kwame he put himself in a draft in 2001, I believe, right? Or 2002, 2001, 2002, one of the two. I'm going to have to look it up real quick, right? Sorry for that. It's unprofessional to not have that on hand. Nonetheless, he was the first number one overall pick out of high school. Kwame was 6'11", about 260-something, 270 pounds coming out of high school, put up magnificent numbers, big-time numbers, could run the floor very well for his size. So people were looking at him to be the next big thing. He was heavily touted, and there were lofty expectations. However, Kwame didn't live up to the expectations of being a superstar player. He was drafted by Michael Jordan in the Washington Wizards and expected to deliver immediately. However, when Kwame got there, things didn't work out. I believe it had a lot to do with his confidence. See, Kwame came in and Michael Jordan came out of retirement and came to play alongside Kwame Brown. And with Mike being his teammate, you know what Mike demands of his teammates. He was very critical of Kwame Brown, and it was even rumored that Michael Jordan had Kwame Brown in tears. Kwame denied it, but I don't know, man. He was so young, 18, 19, and having somebody berate you all the time, like Michael Jordan is known to do to his teammates. I know that can be hard for a young man coming out of high school, especially when Michael is looking for you to help be a dog to get the Washington Wizards to the playoffs and make his whole return look good, but also to make it look good that he drafted you. So Mike is like getting on him, and I think it damaged his confidence, and he struggled for a long time, right? Nonetheless, the man lasted 12 years in the NBA and put up career averages about 6 and 5, which is respectable, right? In the playoffs, it even went up in playoff play when he got to the playoffs later on in his career. So to me, yeah, Kwame didn't live up to expectations, but he's not the biggest bust around. Because I know guys like, what's the boy named Adam Morrison? I know Hasheem Thabit that went number 2 overall and got sent to the D-League almost immediately, right? We know guys like Anthony Bennett who would get sent to the D-League as the number 1 overall pick, something you don't never, ever see before. So to me, Kwame wasn't the biggest bust I've ever seen. I've seen guys be way worse. What's the other dude that went to Minnesota from Westbury Christian Academy or something like that in Texas, I believe? Duty Ebi or something like that, went to Minnesota, never panned out. A whole bunch of guys that were busts. But for whatever reason, Kwame Brown became the butt of people's jokes, right? Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson have a podcast called All the Smoke that I always tune into. They have an interesting perspective to bring, considering the fact that they are former NBA players, former professional athletes. They know what it's like to be in the trenches. And they have a lot of interesting guests on the show. Matt Barnes is great at interviewing. Steven Jackson brings a nice, authentic angle to the interviews and an authentic perspective and questions that people want to hear. So it makes it very interesting to watch. However, on the episode with Rachel Nichols, it was said that it was a joke, a little inside joke about Kwame Brown's state. It was a little inside joke stated, right? I guess they were referring to when Paul Gasol got traded from the Memphis Grizzlies to the LA Lakers in exchange for Kwame Brown. And I think it was a joke about Kwame being somebody's favorite number 1 overall pick, and Matt Barnes tapped Steven Jackson's leg like it was an inside joke making fun of Kwame. And I guess it was something that was said on the Gilbert Arenas episode that they had, right? Now, in retrospect, what they said about him was not, it wasn't the most heinous thing I've ever heard. It wasn't the most disrespectful stuff I ever heard. It was very, very slight. However, what it is that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Because for years, that man been getting clowned. That man got a family. That man got kids. He don't want to have his family turn on TV and see him getting clowned every single way, every way back and forth, right? Getting clowned all the time. He was the butt of people's jokes, and it started with Stephen A. Smith with that Paul Gasol trade, and he was like Kwame Brown, and ever since then he been getting clowned from day one. Stephen A. Smith called him a scrub and all that, and he's tired of it. Don't nobody want to be getting no grown man want to get clowned all the time. Every man got their breaking point where they like, damn, enough is enough. I'm tired of being the butt of people's jokes. What's up, man? Pull up. And he coming out and he providing all the smoke, which is the name of Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson's podcast, right? So, and he made some very valid points. And a lot of people are saying, why didn't he give Stephen A. Smith this energy that he's giving Matt Barnes and Captain Steven Jackson? Well, I think I got the answer to that. Well, I think it's because that Stephen A. Smith is a guy who's never been in the trenches of basketball. He's not a professional player. He doesn't know what it's like to be an athlete and have so many heavy expectations on you, to have so much pressure on you. He don't understand that. On the other hand, Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson understand it all very well, especially due to the fact that they had struggles, nice amount of struggles early on in their career, right? Steven Jackson eventually became more than a role player because he led a couple of teams in scoring. The Golden State team he led in scoring. The Charlotte Bobcats team he led in scoring. And he played a huge role in the Spurs winning their championship against the New Jersey Nets. He hit pivotal shots, and they wouldn't have won that championship without Steven Jackson hitting them shots, right? Matt Barnes was even worse. He bounced around for a nice little time, right? Didn't get a shot in Philadelphia. Mo Cheeks coming at him, clowning him. So Matt Barnes could have very well had a terrible career as well. But it all had to do with Matt Barnes landing in the right space, the right place at the right time. Something that Kwame Brown didn't. He didn't land in the right place. And I can argue that if Kwame went into any other situation, he may have turned out a better basketball player because his confidence may have not been shot. However, whatever it is, Matt Barnes and them could have very well been in the same situation. And had a career it was a lot of ups and downs and crazy stuff that Kwame Brown experienced. So he looking like, y'all know what it's like, and y'all clowning me and y'all trying to throw shots? Hell no. I'm taking all bets are off. I'm taking the gloves off. I'm not handling y'all with kitty gloves, and I'm going in. I don't agree with the personal jokes being made from Kwame's perspective, but he has a point, y'all. I mean, like for real. Even talking about, look, y'all gonna clown me, and I changed my whole family's life. He got his mom a house on a golf course, which is something that a lot of young black men in America strive to do every single day. I want to do that for my mama. I want to put her up in a nice house and have her living luxurious and have a living free and away from troubles and any struggle, because I know how she provided for me as a kid, her and my father both. I want to put my dad in something nice and have him in nice cars and all of that. Kwame was able to do that at the tender age of 18 years old. So regardless of if you feel like he had a terrible career or not, the man was able to do something to provide for his family and to change his whole life, right? Regardless if the basketball stuff didn't pan out or not. But like I said before, the man had a pretty respectable career. Lasting in the NBA 12 years is not an easy feat. A lot of guys can't stay around for 3, 4, 5 years. It's hard to stay around, and he stayed around for 12 long years. So you should give a man some credit for that, right? But I understand it, man. Kwame is just fed up. Everybody been clowning him for so long. He don't want to have to hear every time his kids type his name in on YouTube. It's a joke. It's Stephen A. Smith going off on him, ranting, raving, calling him a scrub, a buster, and all this and all of that. He tired of hearing that. And while what Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson and Gilbert Arenas, what they may have said may have been light, to him it was everything, because he like, damn, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of getting talked about. I'm tired of getting clowned. Enough is enough. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. And he say, look, man, this shit got to end. And I understand, and I understand where he's coming from. I don't agree with the very, very personal attacks mentioning Derek Fisher when he talking about Matt Barnes and his kids and all that. I don't agree with that at all. But I understand him being so upset, because he like, man, I've been getting clowned for all this time, and I had a pretty decent career. I've done well for myself. I've done well. I didn't resort to trying to be in the streets. I didn't resort to try to be a thug. I didn't resort to try to be a drug dealer. None of that. I stuck to basketball. You know what I mean? I'm doing a lot for the kids in my community and the neighborhood that I come from to give back. I stayed on the positive. I stayed on the straight and narrow, and I was able to make good money to provide for my family where I don't have to work for another man, you got to salute that black man for that. You got to salute him for that, regardless of his basketball talents, whether you feel like he was a great basketball player or not. You got to salute him for that job that he's done, man. And personally, I think that he's just tired of all the ridicule, all the nonsense, and all. He's tired of all of that. You know what I mean? And you can't blame the guy. When a guy keep getting clowned on, it's only so much he can take. The same way JaVale McGee had to snap on Shaq, but keep putting him on Shaq the fool, because he like, okay, damn, every time I turn on TV, you clowning me. Now, some would argue in that instance, JaVale was doing it to himself because he kept making a lot of boneheaded plays, but he was just like, he just felt like Shaq was picking. You know what I mean? But in this instance, Kwame Brown, man, like, he like, hey, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. Enough is enough. And he feel like, look, y'all as black men shouldn't be clowning on other black men in these public forums, clowning on them for no reason, for stuff that they didn't do. You know what I mean? That they didn't do nothing to you. They ain't doing nothing foul. They ain't doing nothing heinous. They're not undermining the black community. They not throwing black folks under the bus. He looking like, don't be talking about me. Y'all shouldn't be doing none of that, especially in this time that we're in right now. And I feel that, right? Now, I don't, this is one thing I don't like, though. When a black man do something stupid or do something foolish and do something clowned out and absolutely ridiculous and absolutely, like, heinous, I don't believe in holding my tongue because that person is black. I'm going to get on your ass. Because at the end of the day, you did something foolish, you undermined the black community, or you did something wild and you're doing something very disrespectful, or you're saying something out of body and way out of pocket, I'm going to talk about it. And I'm going to take it to my platform and I'm going to voice my opinion on it, and I'm going to voice it as harshly as I want to. If I'm feeling upset, I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to say it with the same energy that I always say it with. If I'm upset, I'm going to say it with upset energy. And I don't think I need to afford that person some type of peace and leave him alone because he's black. Hell no. He knew he was black when he jumped out here and said that stupid stuff to undermine the black community or whatever. So I'm going to go at him. I'm going to say it. If you jump out and say something disrespectful to the black community, I'm going to speak out on that. I had to say that part. I'm sorry I'm going off and ranting. But people always used to say that when I went off on certain black men for certain stuff they did that was absolutely out of pocket and out of line and disrespectful and distasteful, they would be like, how are you a black man attacking another black man and y'all should be sticking together? Yeah, brother. But he went out there and did something that was foul and disrespectful. So I'm going to talk about him. I don't care. I'm going to let him know. We got to give him shame to let him know that wasn't right. That was wrong. That was absolutely out of pocket. And that's only for out of pocket things. But nonetheless, man, I understand where Kwame Brown coming from, man. Every man in life is just, they get to a point where like, damn, enough is enough. Stop talking about me. I ain't talking about y'all. Don't make me look bad in that light when you don't know what he may have been struggling with. I know how hard Michael Jordan is a man. You already know Michael Jordan is something else, especially as a teammate. And can you imagine you being 18 years old, having Michael hovering over you, snapping on you, saying you ain't this and you ain't that, and MF will get it done. And listen, Michael Jordan leadership is hard. The same way with the late great Kobe Bryant. Their leadership was a hard, different type of style. One guy like LeBron James or maybe a Damian Lillard or who else? Maybe a Giannis may have a different style where they're more approachable, they're more friendly, they're more trying to build their teammates up and trying to instill confidence in them to be great rather than trying to berate them to get them so nervous to mess up. Because when a person nervous to mess up, they're going to mess up all the damn time because they just so scared of doing the wrong thing. And I think that's what happened to Kwame Brown. And in turn, it messed up his confidence. And y'all know, if you ever been an athlete or you ever been competitive, if you ever been competitive in anything, in your life, you know when your confidence is gone, it's a wrap, it's a done deal. Stick a fork in them. Take the L out of lover, brother. It's over if you ain't got no confidence. Take the L out of lover, it's over if you ain't got no confidence at all. And I think that's what happened to Kwame Brown. But I think as the years progressed, as he got older, he started to be able to make the adjustment much better and deal with all the things that was coming at him. And he was able to perform much better. But nonetheless, man, I understand where Kwame Brown is coming from. Machiavelli Mills TV, I'm out. Peace.